including when he volunteered as a firefighter at 16. After college, Welles took a job as an equities trader, working on the 104th floor of the World Trade Center. But the good money and great view weren't enough.
Welles called me one day and said, Dan, I think I want to change my career. I think I want to be a New York City firefighter.
September 11th, 2001 came before Welles could switch careers. But on that terrible day, Welles became a hero.
You heard this man's voice say, I found the stairs. Follow me.
Survivors remember a man wearing a red bandana who guided so many to safety at his own peril.
When I heard the news that the tower had come down, I knew in my heart of hearts that Welles was gone. It was just a mother's heart knowing. Sorry.
Welles was eventually uncovered from the rubble alongside a group of New York City firefighters.
To know that Welles, in that figurative sense, took off the equity trader hat and put it on the table, picked up his helmet, firefighter's helmet, and went to work. For me, that was an incredible, incredible thing to know.
For anyone who now knows his story, we're now here with ESPN's Tom Rinaldi. He's telling the story in the new book, The Red Bandana. We also have our audience over there wearing red bandanas in memory of Welles as well. And it's an incredible story. He first started to wear that bandana because he wanted to be like his dad.
Exactly. Like so many boys, George, that grow up, he idolized everything his father did. They're getting dressed for church. One morning, he sees his dad wearing a pocket square. He asks if he can have one. His dad goes and gets him one. His dad fears that maybe that's going to be used to blow his nose. So he gives him the red bandana just in case. Welles ended up carrying that essentially the rest of his life.
And that became the key to actually finding him.
And I think one of the parts to really stress about this story, George, is there were so many great stories of heroism. You know, you were down there, you covered 9/11. But this one clue unearthed this one story. For Welles, several survivors had pointed to this man wearing a red bandana to shield himself from all the smoke on the 78th floor sky lobby, a scene of terrible, terrible carnage where as many as 200 had been killed.
And we can't know for sure how many he saved, but we know it was several. And what a heart-stopping story. He guides several people to safety, makes sure they're okay, and then says, I'm going back up.
And I think that right there, George, poses the question at the center of the book. He guides this first group down. Lane Young, you heard in the setup piece there. They're on the 61st floor. The only thing he says is, I'm going back up. And all of us ask the question at some point, what would we do faced with that decision? A life-changing, life-at-stake choice. And the choice he made was to go back up, and as a result, more lives were saved.
And the story you tell in a way shows that everything in his life led up to that decisive moment.
That's right. The story unfolds from three parts: pre-9/11, 9/11, and the legacy after that day. But all of the institutions, his family, his community, his sports teams, his local firehouse that helped instill the character that ultimately, in that moment of truth, the final hour of his life, he called on all of that to make this decision.
And as you point out, he's one of many heroes on Lady, but he is being remembered in many special ways.
He is, and it's been a wonderful thing to see the growth of his legacy. I think maybe it came in its most startling fashion when President Obama dedicated the opening of the 9/11 Memorial Museum in the footprint of the fallen towers. 2,977 died that day. President Obama chose to mention one person by name. One, Welles Crowther, the man in the red bandana.
And this book, The Red Bandana, great tribute to him as well. Tom, thanks a lot for coming in this morning.
Thanks so much for having me, George.
Red Bandana available in stores and online right now, but now let's go outside to Ginger.